The communist country of China is deciding to get rid of presidential term limits for their presidents. Now, this is being brought down by the elite central committee, and it's suggesting that its current president, Xi Jinping, will remain in office indefinitely. Now, if you don't know what their rules are, it's this: they are elected for a 5-year term. So and the reason why they did that is to make sure that the current presidents or people who are in office don't abuse their power. So with this new law they're trying to enact, that'll all go away. And if it does come to fruition, the current president will remain in power longer than the last 2 presidents before him. Let's get into it. First, thoughts, 5 words or less.
He's pushing the limit.
Don't get any ideas, America.
I guess this is smart. What? I could be wrong.
Wait, you think that abolishing term limits is smart?
Well, here's the thing. So this guy is doing a lot of, I guess, good within the government. He has an anti-corruption campaign that came back, I think, 2013 after he was elected in 2012, where they're doing a more introspective cleaning of corrupt people within the government. So that's not a bad thing. Now, I do think that if the person is in office is a douchebag, yeah, of course, that is detrimental to the company, or the company. I can't even talk today. The country. But if he's trying to do good, can it be a bad thing, Brooke?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to take the good with the bad. Because what happens when your favorite person has been there for 30 years and then something happens and they get, voted out, they lose to someone awful. And now that person can stay there forever. And countries don't always get it right. So it's great to say yes, because we want the person who's best for the country, who's actually best for people and growth, and who's progressive and who's anti-corruption, to stay in charge as long as possible. But the people don't always vote for that person. And so when that happens, do you want them in there forever? No. Right?
Yeah, term limits can come back. Like it's good when it's someone good, but it's awful when it's someone awful. And I also think that something we all have to recognize is that if you are running for elected office to govern other people, inherently, even our most beloved leaders from across different nations, there's an ego element to that. Basically saying, I can lead you, I know what's best. Even the best people that did it responsibly and that made positive changes in the countries which they served. It's important to have term limits because absolutely when you're given that sort of power, you can become drunk on it. And you have to limit that and condense it and also try new progressive solutions. That's how we move forward. You can't just stay stagnant, like, well, we found this one guy and he's great, so we're just gonna stick with him to the end of time. I just think it's not how government should work. I think that we should have term limits because I think otherwise it gets pretty like sort of authoritarian kind of quickly.
It's gonna come back to bite you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that said, the reason why, those are great points, because the reason why I say it could be a good thing depending on the person who's in office. There are people who do good. Now, in the case of Xi Jinping, first of all, he's 64 years old, so he will hang on to power longer than his 2 predecessors, who were Hu Jintao and Jiang Zemin. The reason why, as you guys said, they put the term limits was to do exactly what you guys were talking about, to make sure that someone isn't in power indefinitely.
And also because of Mao Zedong, because that Chairman Mao, was not a great situation for China.
Well, another thing that's kind of eye-opening is that there's some people in China, a lot of people in China who are supporting this. They're actually saying like, hey, this is a good thing, while there are some people who, of course, think it's bad. You said US.
There's a lot of people here who would support that and who would fight for that right now.
Right.
Who would be obsessed with this idea. And there are a lot of people who are happy that that's not a thing, Right. Well,
a lot of people that are happy that it's not a thing are saying that because China is doing all they can to roll back human rights and freedom of expression, because a lot of people there feel that they can't be just that, who they are. So I don't think this is good for China. I do think that if the person that is in office is willing to do, like, let's say Obama, I'm just gonna put it out there, if Obama was in office for a long period of time after his term, let's say he had a great 4 years, a wonderful 4 years, made a lot of changes, and to all accounts was seemingly a fantastic person, it could be a good thing. If someone's willing to do the work. You had said authoritarian, I can't even, what is wrong with me today? Authoritarian, what's the word, Grace?
Authoritarian?
Yes.
Yeah.
You said it 4 times.
You said it.
I didn't complete it. I did not complete what I was trying to say, but you said it that it's ego driven.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, I think any position of power is for sure, you're putting yourself in a position to say, I can lead you, I can govern you, even if you do it responsibly and you make good decisions. Who are the people that seek out those positions, that put themselves in that place? I think that, I wish I had the text in front of me, but I know that it's either from George Washington, I know there's another quote about term limits also from FDR that I think would be really good if I'd had it in front of me to reference now, basically about what the importance of term limits and the importance of a changeover in government, and giving the decision back to the citizens. Because remember, the citizens have to elect someone to office, and making sure that you still have that exchange and that checks and balance system, which was so huge when the forefathers founded this country, to make sure that there are always, that's why there are different levels of government, that's why there's veto power. Now, I don't know exactly the system in China, but of course, I'm sort of conditioned to have my own experiences influence my opinion on this situation, and I think that term limits are paramount to a well-functioning government. I think that changeover, even if you disagree with it, is good at just emboldening the other side and just making sure that people stay involved in politics. The constituents and the citizens stay involved in how the country is run through a voting and election process. That's just absolutely important.
Yeah, according to BuzzFeed, this will automatically be approved. They have a rubber stamp legislation, so this is going to go through. And some people are calling for this and saying that he's done some good because since his time in office, he's had initiatives that have increased infrastructure within China and have, allowed the company to flourish. So we'll see, you guys. It's one of those weird topics to talk about, clearly.